Hello and welcome to this show. Today's episode we are going to draw a Twigblight. Perhaps multiple versions though, the goal is to get an interesting looking Twigblight. Twigblight is a creature that is like an awakened shrub. They hail from a Golteus tree, but more about that later on when we get started. It's quite some information. Alright, there we go. I've done all of the socials, so let's get started and dive into it and ignore our timer. Here we are. It's the right page. I'm still busy with my cup of coffee and I'm enjoying that very much. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in our chat. Alright. So, the Golteus tree is something that, according to D&D lore, a bit of an evil tree, evil-spirited tree. Very interesting. Right now, I'm just going to go for a couple of quick silhouettes. Just going at random. Imagining that there be all sorts of awakened shrubs. Like Twigblights do not have to look the same, behave the same. A little bit large for a silhouette, but I'll shrink it down in a bit. Just felt like going this way. Right, let's get that one to this point right over there. Gonna do a couple of these silhouettes to get the shape of what our Twigblight is going to look like that we're going to work on tonight. And yeah, as the name suggests, Twigblight like twigs, perhaps. Doesn't give away, I mean, could be something tiny and cute so long as it looks like an awakened shrub. I mean, D&D descriptions sometimes tend to be a little bit vague. Sometimes, not always. There's a couple of plants that I have in mind and I'll fetch some references later on. Haven't done that yet. I was excited to get started. Had an idea in my mind. Had an idea and I just wanted to go for it. Go grab some plant inspiration from the interwebs and also the official art from D&D. Let's start with that one so we can have a better look at Twigblight. What is a Twigblight? What does it do? Here's some standard art from one of the D&D books. Can also be found on the internet if you have that. Alright. So for a Twigblight, of course they're small. That's for starters. So the size really does matter with these things. And bloodthirsty plant creatures that are spawned by the Golteus tree, like I mentioned in our introduction. But to delve into that for a wee bit more Let me see, I actually have to look it up. I believe the Gultius tree is something that spawns when a malevolent mind contaminates a plant. It's like contaminated by evil-mindedness, and that kind of shapes and creates a Gultius tree. So the Gultius tree by default is evil, and its fruit, it bears fruit like apples, and at the roots the tree spreads. It infests the other plants surrounding it, and it may even turn those plants into blights, like the Twigblights, or not, which gives it an interesting feature, because then you'd have different kind of plants. So that kind of gestures from my creative thinking, that would mean different kind of Twigblights. And yes, you do find some concept artists who've gone with that thought as well. But I want to explore it a wee bit more, so that's the reason we dive into the information behind the Twigblight, so we can make the Twigblight. And there's multiple Twigblights, I'm just choosing one of the funny ones that I come up with. I like fern as a plant. I really love fern. It curls, it dangles, it has a shape. There's multiple fern species out there as well. Just grabbing a couple of Google images, using them as reference. I'm not going to draw over them. Sometimes it's just good to know how things look. Alright, paste. And let me see. I've also the Oleander plant. A very interesting one, I believe. And the yellow version thereof, if I can find it. Yes, I do. That's a very interesting shape for flowers. Like a little trumpet. I like that. There we go. A lovely little mixture. If you have any plant suggestions, things that you'd like to see back in a Twigblight, like, oh, I know a lovely shrub I would love to see around, feel free to post it in chat and I'll have a look and look it up. Just a sort of reminder, I do not know every plant species on the globe. I know a few of them, but not all. My knowledge, my vast knowledge lies within the arts and birds. Again, not all birds, because there's many birds, but a few, yes. There we go, there's the references. I'm gonna stick them below that layer. Just trying a couple of different shapes as well. I'm just mixing some animal shapes in there. I do know that from the description a Twigblight mentions humanoid, but humanoid has a vast term within the D&D section. I mean, there's tabaxi, there's lion, there is triton, and yeah, it's bipedal. So long as it is bipedal, I see no problem with having other features. They're doing the same. I mean, if you look at Aarakocra, and that is still considered humanoid, so within the D&D terms. And you do have a lovely new species called the Harrington, I believe. Bunch of hares, bunnies. quite cute. Real cute. Alright, I'm just gonna leave this one as it is, because you know, the thing about silhouette is you shouldn't be spending too much time on silhouettes. They're just there to dump out some ideas and get them done. Maybe some more fun. Inspired. Maybe it has some, you know, funny leaves sticking around. Plop, 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 plop. Head in the middle. Type of situation. And how would it move? It would be sitting on the floor, on the ground, and it probably gets hooked the moment you get closer, like trying to snatch up. Again, these creatures are tiny, and if you're gonna ask your DM, can I tame this? I would say yes, but please do negotiate this with your DM before you actually show up with your character that has a tamed Twigblight, because you do need approval from your DM if you start with a Twigblight companion. They don't do much damage, absolutely not, but a funny little buggers. Look, look, look. Oh, maybe I want one that is having some sort of bug features. There's also a species in D&D whose name I forgot. They're fairly new. Can look them up real quick. Or insect types. Bum 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 bum. I believe it's the Kreen. Yes, there we go. Kreen could be. 3 Kreen. Interesting, very interesting. Yeah, 3 Kreen, that is their name. It's or Thrive Kreen, however you want to pronounce that. I'll post it in chat, so you can look it up and have a look at these insect creatures from D&D. And I find that inspiring because usually when I am working on my plant monsters or anything like it, I tend to mix in some bug-like features because it makes sense. You have a walking leaf. An actual existing insect, and I draw a lot of inspiration from our bug world. Some of them are really good with their camouflage and mimic the way plants move, or even gesture, and that's funny. And as do animals as well, or reptilians, like the chameleon. Let's see. And just a quick thought, like, what if Twigblights had like bug-like wings? That would make them more nasty rather than these. Yes, I love bugs too. Like, welcome to Bug World. Twigblights have an average, if they manage to hit players, and I'm mentioning this because they are like stormtroopers from Star Trek. Our beloved Twigblights come in the many, and that is what makes them dangerous. But they're if our player characters are like robust fighters or barbarians, none of your Twigblights are going to do anything to those barbarians. They're gonna not even scratch their armor up. They're just gonna miss every bloody attack that they have. So you have to boost them up or do something to make the fight more interesting for the players to actually go up against Twigblights. So that's why I'm designing Twigblights today, to make it more interesting, have interesting features, and perhaps negotiate some behavioral aspect of these Twigblights. For example, have them act and work together, as they always do, and let them do that a wee bit more like predatory insect or bugs using bait. So they use one of their own as bait or a lure to lure the players into a situation where there is an abundance of them, like into a cave or some piece of ground where they may have a little bit more advantage over the players, but nothing too much, nothing too crazy, because the players still have to win this battle. We're not going for TPK by Twigblights. No, they're supposed to be fun to beat. So let's make the fight more interesting and have them be a little smarter, so the players can actually use their tactics as well. Have some combat and strategy. Or let them just shout, "It's a trap!" They love doing that too. Let the players feel smart. I'm not fond of that arm right over there. I think. You can even arm your Twigblights up with perhaps things that they find in the forest, things that they find in their environment, little tools that they make, and it won't add much damage. Really, it should not. But it could make the fight more interesting to give them more tools and things to work with, other than, oh, it's gonna lash out, it's gonna slash, do some slashing damage, and if they hit, the most damage that a Twigblight does is 4, and trust you and me, it always comes down to either if they hit, that is, and that's still the big question, if. It's usually 1 or 2 damage, and yes, there's always a ton of Twigblights, but one smack of the player and he can strike 2 Twigblights down in one go if they're a bit lucky and position themselves a wee bit smarter. So Twigblights really don't stand a chance against players, which is their purpose. They're not supposed to stand a chance. Doesn't take away that we shouldn't make it more interesting and have all different sorts of Twigblights out there. Perhaps one is wearing one of those acorn thingies. That makes it too adorable to hit, but hey, maybe it triggers players into, oh, maybe I want a Twigblight pet or something. I'm gonna try and tame this, and they're spending an entire session trying to communicate with a Twigblight. And the Twigblight leads them toward epic battle and beyond reason, like the side quest of the Twigblight. Maybe Twigblight ride on mice or rats. Could be a thing. You know, like those arms, or at least, yes. I'll make those a bit bigger. Okay. Whip. I have some different sizes going up. Shapes. And the shapes, that is the part of the font as well. I mean, and goes crazy. You can even make a cacti. How would a cacti Twigblight look like? I think this one resembles a cacti the most. Get these little spikes everywhere. That would be funny. Stuff like that. Alright. So to make this a little bit more interactive, we're gonna choose a Twigblight to work on and see how far we can get. I'm gonna number them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So for people in the chat, if they are present and love the chitter chatter, choose your Twigblight. As with D&D, I'm not gonna wait forever. And silence means I'll be the one doing the picking. It's one of the things I love to bug players with as well. Yeah, indecisiveness is not rewarded. Oh, you do nothing, you sit in a corner. You like 1, 5, and 2. Alright, that limits the choice. 1, 5, and 2. Oakley dokley, those are the ones that jump out. We're gonna go for this, we have decided, and I'll pick number 1 to work on. Maybe we'll cycle back and use some parts from 5 and 2, who knows. Can always work on them on a different session. But for now, we're gonna work on number 1. I am going to put a marker on our map, on our lovely little drawing. There we go. Let's use green. Green is more positive, so this one is being used. This one is liked, and this one was liked as well. There we go. Lovely. Now we've got some references. If you have some plants that are absolute favorite, feel free to mention them now. I'm going to continue forward and use what I have in my reference pool. I do like the shape of this one. It in some ways it kind of reminds me of a droid, a silly one. But yeah, those arms, or an 8080 from Star Wars. I'm numbering and naming a lot of references, and yeah, people look them up. And sometimes I have my pronouns all the way wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. Feel free to do that. I won't bite much. Let's see if we can enhance this lovely little fella with some booklet treats. For some reason I expect the eyeballs to go here and have this very short snout. That would be lovely. And have this amazing little hairdo that is totally crazy. Boop, 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 boop. Maybe have the yellow eyes. Yes, yes, yellow eyes. Oh, that would be perfect. Like a little skull scratcher. Oh, that's fun. Always good to have fun. Aklai from Star Wars. Aklai. I gotta look that one real quickly. Aklai. Aklai, that was. Come on. Ah, yes, that one. Oh, yeah. The moment I had that fight against that creature, I'm just gonna grab it for the references for people who might have this. Oh yeah, moment. Please don't get mad at me, Star Wars. I'm just promoting your product. Let me see. Transform. This being right over here, this nasty booger, it inspired so many other critters. Also, I love it. I just love how it looks. There's these 3 eyes right over there. And his big mouth. Like spider-like features. And it has claws on each of its legs. I mean, look at that. That's wild, totally wild. And I admire the one who came up with this child. Amazing. Yes. yes, indeed. Oh, the sound. I'm not gonna do that here because if I stop making crazy noises, no clue where we'll go, but I'll get the room empty. Ugh. Another sip of coffee. But yeah, I love the bright yellow eye features with this almost grey-brown bark, like skin that is having on a very prolonged neck. I'll have to come up with something for that later on. And I wanted to make it look adorable but dangerous as well, so I might want to fold some sneaky things in here. Like some exposable, some thumbs or nails, sharpened wood that is used as a weapon. So yes, then you can actually see the slashing damage. Oh, reminds me of a praying mantis and a sloth at the same time. oh boy, Oleander. Such a nice plant. These spiky little leaves. This little black edge around the eyeball. It's like it's really deep into that eye socket. I think I might add more Twigblight episodes because there's an abundance of plants, and if this Gultius tree infects all sorts of plants surrounding it. Yes, I love him too. I totally want to adopt this creature if I come across it in the game. Like, oh, gimme. Depending on the DM, I may not get my way, but I might even feed this ID to our DM that is currently hosting the game I am a player for. Could be nice. Yes, indeed, also depending on the creature. Yeah, I'm just trying out some quick flower IDs, like the trumpet flower that we have. Like, would that even make sense on top of this creature? Or should I work on the flower to be more, you know, into the design itself? Oh yeah, absolutely. Just for the other viewers who have joined, the character that is mentioned in chat, Pa, is one of the characters that me as a player played with as well in the Tomb of Annihilation, which was hosted by Red One Odd, who was the DM for it. Amazing. And that character, Pa, was collecting all sorts of animals. Everything went, everything was saved, everything was rescued. Hilarious. At the same time, this character, Pa, had children with him, aka other players, like me and stuff. And they were brutal murderers. Also, I'm guilty of that too, I think. Yes, I am. Some crazy flowers. Yeah, why not? Haha! Yeah, it was an army never to be used. It was interesting, and with everything goes, I mean, every animal, and humans were... Yeah, no humans allowed. No. That was a thing. Yeah, I'm just letting it lean a little bit more on its hind legs to really flow with a shape, because there's certain shapes that are appealing. Have a point of focus as a golden circle, and Let me entertain you with some thoughts and cookies. Whee! So if I were really to follow this golden circle ID, and right now it looks ridiculous. I know. Just wait for it, and maybe you'll see. And I was too enthusiastic with this. There. Of course, some stuff can stick out. That's fine. But wait and see on what it does with your view after I'm done. My little artist tricks. Things that always point toward a certain point. Whip. It'll still be crazy and spiky. And otherwise we have to clip some leaves and make it a wee bit shorter. It's an option too. I do want to make a bit of a dent over here. I have like almost a bug-like antenna. You know, with the ugly eyes and everything, I mean. Ooh. That'll be lovely. Take the references. Put them next to each other. So we can see the actual difference as we work and continue on. We always make some couple of save points, at least I do. Hope you do that too when you work on one layer like myself. Of course, we can have a couple of crazy leaves going in about. Could be nice, could be nice. Just a thought. And then we puzzle onward. I'm still trying to keep in mind, like, am I going for a greasy toothbrush that has been overused, a kind of hairdo, or spiky grass, like the plant, like the Oleander. And I think maybe it's better to keep up with the Oleander, the plant itself. Get a bit of those recognizable references in there. Lots of wood. Yeah, let this little crazy little Twigblight look at you right in the eyes. either utterly surprised or welcoming your presence. You have no clue. Whole lot of fun that you can come up with. Ah, yes, layer. Allow me to fix that. We have a lovely fixed solution. Oop. And paste. I'm back with the references. Zooming in a wee bit more. And another sip of coffee. Ugh, something I really desire. Well, let us say that light. There be light. And that's going to be a lot of fun. For this I'm using the add option from Studio Clip Paint. And I want it to be sunny in Philadelphia, so as it would make more sense for this whole image. Like, oh hey, what kind of light would you have? Well, yellow-ish, yellow, orange, in between there, depending on the stance of the sun, like how high is it up. I'd say it'd be afternoon, When drawing, always exaggerate everything. Get the desired result. You know, always tone it down. We have some hairdo thing over here. So in light of that, trying to keep that in mind. Going again. Like, I have to just draw an arrow to make it more clear and obvious for myself and for the viewers where it's light coming from. You have to direct that. We got it from this point. So we also have some bounce light and stuff like that. So it's also bloop, bounce. We have those edges that will go over here and there, probably here. Those lovely things. We'll get into that later, because we have yet to decide the color of the ground that we're working on. Something I do know is that bloop. So that would make a spot right over there. Gummy. There we go. But nothing too much. A little bit. and we get a wee bit of, almost say, green bounce light right over there, just a wee bit. Turn this layer off. I'll see how it looks. And we're going back to our gummy. That could be some light that falls right down over here. Don't forget to make that similar colour. Bloop, bloop, bloop. There we go. Like, even though the eyes are more into the socket, I do want them to have this bulging effect like a dragonfly. I think it's so cute. And here we might get a little less. Whoop. Don't make the target disappear. That's the difference. With some brushing up and adding some light. Soon we will add some shades. First we're gonna okay this one. Merge. And onto the next layer, clipping mask. There shall be shadows. And for the shadows, we're going to use an opposite trick. Now, we're close to the orange edge. That gives us the blue corner. Whoop! So, it almost dictates a ground is more of a cooler, solid color for it to have this effect. Going from up to down. Maybe it stands between some other shrubs. Probably where it would be hiding, between the shrubs. Being an awakened shrub himself. Herself, whatever this lovely little being identifies as. Maybe both. Both is good. I mean, they're plants. Plants are often both, so... There are very few exceptions that I think exist, but in general, the theme is plants are both. Anyway. Now you can see how that looks, the features. Oh, we can also have some warmer lightning, which indicates a different area, but I like this, so I'm gonna go with this. Whip, merge, and have another layer safe, so we can always step back whenever we want. And is it time to do the thing? Yeah. Should have done this earlier before I started doing the whole color thingy. I might want to do something with that later, like having these lovely little insect bug-like eyes. Some little blots on the bark, I like that too. Happy accidents. I'm gonna make it more obvious and clear that this is a chin, or at least what looks like it, or the yeah, lower jaw. So I have to figure out a little pattern for the neck. I will do that soon. I mean, it is wood. But it wouldn't hurt, haha, if it was clear that it is very agile and movable with this creature's neck. So we have some segments, probably like insect segments. So I'm kind of drawing over the whole light show that I've been displaying. I wanted to have this weird chest that is pointy. To deviate more from the mammal kind of design type, I want it to be clear that it's more bug type, like plant type, than mammalian. So to enhance that effect. Can I go for that? Flowers that need to be need some work. Can't wait now. Just a standard gives an idea. I wanted to give it a bit of a chicken like neck, rather than going for a full praying mantis, like having a little bit of a mixture in there. Already has these lovely bug eyes. Color picking. Well, we'll get to the stout later on. I'll fix that. Haven't decided on what to do with it yet. There we go. When we go into the finer details, you'd have some of its leaves damaged, showing that it has been stalking and preying for a wee bit longer than just being a wee little sprout as new to the world. As funny as that would be. Let's turn this one around again. and lean back and think about what we're doing. That's also a good thing and part of being an artist. You can always lean back, think before you act again. Tinker. It's like inventing a new tool every time you go at it. And that makes me think about the readability of this creature. I'm gonna have another saving point. Boop. And right now I don't find it too readable, so I might want to adjust some of its positions or arms. I know that it is leaning on these things, but maybe. Of course, I'd have to fix some light and shadow as well. And we have some stuff to fix. Yeah, it may look like an unorganized mess right now, but we're gonna clean that up. Also gives this hind leg more a steady position. I'm given the legs of orchid mantis. One of my favorite bugs. Just bustling around a little bit. We can always step back and look at that previous version when we really feel like, oh no, we've gone the wrong way. This is not it. Just trying to make sure that the pose is more readable, so there's no interference with things. We're gonna test that theory by shoving the previous version aside next to the current version. The readability is making some progress, and just have to think about, yeah, where to go with this. Where to go? Because I'm not yet a fan of the arms, so I'm just gonna think around a wee bit more. Because these arms are, in short, bugging me. Flip, flip, flip. I do know for sure that I want them to be fairly long. That would fit the character design that we are going for. That's one of these claws or something. Did that do it? No. What makes the character interesting? Something weird. Something never seen before. I keep riddling with this in my mind. Thank you, Mark Burnett. Thank you so much for that tip and advice that I keep to heart right now when I'm crafting and doing something. Like everything I do, like, is it weird enough? And then again, I often draw inspiration from real life things that I've seen before. But doesn't take away that you can't mix. Fingers over here. That'll do it. Oh, trust you and me, I will add to it that it will have some natural weapons. But I kind of do want to take in some cutie factors. At least from a distance, like, oh, that looks so adorable! And it hurts. Ouch. For players who love insects, like myself. Otherwise, this looks like a total creeper. That would mean that it's more to the side. That means la 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 la, because we have the inner arm piece right over here. Just to make it a little bit more clear, inner arm piece. And if it's to the side, we get to see it part over here, part over there, like little pointy sticks. As this one is the longest, and bloop. Tuk 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 tuk. What makes it more interesting? That would be, I guess, Twigblight little weapons, Twigblight little gear. I'm gonna get to that in a bit. We're just developing a little mini side quest as we go. Really makes me think about the shape of this critter. It has these tiny little fingers, and it has these kind of blades on its these sharp twigs attached to it. I imagine that to be a short part as a defense mechanism. Makes me wonder about its pose again. Let's step back and look at where we came from. If this is the one, it's one of the starters. Bloop. So we have the results at where we are now and where we started, or at least a good part of where we started, beside one another. All right. Alright, this calls for another little saving point. Bloop. Just like that. Oh, I just love taking my time with this Twigblight. And now that I'm really thinking about its pose, it's kind of coming more and more to life as we go and tinker with it. I want the pose to be more interesting. I think I'm just gonna redo that arm over there. And this is where I do use separate layers, because if I make some mistakes, I don't have to erase and go over them like an actual painting. I did do that in the very beginning of my artistic career. So I couldn't be bothered to use separate layers at all. We have the inside still. So I wanted to lean on this arm. And because we see a fair chunk of the inside of this other arm, we don't have to draw the spikies. Yeah, I'm just think about what makes it more interesting, because I do have to think about the readability and the cross-line references. It's like never let a line enter in the corner of another one. Meaning, this. Boop. Up. There we go. Just use select 2 and rotate. Make it fit. Yeah, we already have a pretty good color direction of where we are headed for. Whoop. Merging that. So the thing is that this pose actually shows interest or curiosity. It's wondering, curiosity, and a basic form of intelligence. Let me move this hand up. Bum bum bum. There. And I imagine there's also a pose that's more of a defense kind of stance, or the charge. Trying to get the hang of this critter. What would it do if it came across our lovely player characters? Really depends on the group, of course, as some would go "aww" and others would go "dark." There's always the total polar opposites. needless to say, this critter is small, so it has the size of a gnome, a halfling, those kind of sizes. That's the thing that we're looking at. So when there's humans or anything, you know, taller than a gnome approaching it, maybe it got more afraid or scared because, you know, bigger, more impressionate. Or like a particular type of owl, it makes itself as big and fluffy as possible to scare off a potential threat. But when things come too close, it narrows itself down and try to go up in its environment. But yeah, these boogers do seek out conflict, so I'd imagine them to use some sort of baiting system or trap, maybe even the flowers that smell pretty or smell good. I really like the pose, but I need something more cheeky. That's the word. I'm looking for something more cheeky. How do you incorporate cheeky? Cheeky. First of all, I'm gonna get rid of this. And then this little one over here. Now I'm going to zap away at the legs in a separate layer. See if I can figure out a better pose. Paste. And I want that to be underneath. So now we're gonna go play with that. Aha. Yes, a more aggressive stance. Yeah, I'm using a lighter blue color to make sure that this leg is more pushed toward the background and not so much on the front of the scene. There we go. I'll make sure that it looks like wood soon enough, or some sort of root-like system, color and texture. I do want the bug-like feeling to this being. That our little fella. Going up against the party even though you know you can't win this. Well, he doesn't know. He doesn't need to know. In the Twigblight's mind, they can always win everything. They can always defeat everything. That's why they end up, you know, dead so often. And it makes me wonder, it's never really mentioned, upon Twigblight being left behind, being, you know, stricken down, cut down by the potty, what happens? Does it regrow? Does it get up after a certain amount of time? It's a plant-like creature, so maybe you'd have to burn it to get rid of it. Otherwise, perhaps, like weed, it would grow back in your garden. Right? Right? But that's what I would think. Yes. And as a DM, I absolutely had to deal with very smart players as well who see through my trickery quite easily. Or at least they got the hang of it and they knew how to predict me. Like, oh, well, natural elements. This is a plant. Fire! And that's quite effective. I'm giving cute little fingers right over that 3. Because I love the number 3. Blip, 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 blip. Now that's looking better. Now I still have to do the other hand, other arm for this cheeky little fella. And I always have hand issues. Who doesn't? Well, some artists do not have hand issues. Some. But most of my friends, my artistic friends, they have similar comparable issues. Like arms. Where to put this arm? Where to put that arm? Yeah, copy that. I'm gonna paste it. And nope, wrong layer. Of course, that is a thing. Oop-de-doo. Right, again. Whee! The right layer. Making this a blot. So it's more of a silhouette. It's easier to work with. Trust me. And now we're gonna go play with it and see what it does. It's a shoulder part, so I always move the rotation center point up to it, the shoulder part, or the part that I would really like to see moving around, making a entire animation of this little critter. We're not gonna do that, not until I install some programs that will allow me to do so. In terms of readability, yes, of course, I could I could always stack it down like this, but I do want a more interesting pose, so I have to keep things in mind. If you move it like so, the readability goes down by a lot. It is a possible pose, so don't get me wrong, but I'm trying to keep things readable. Maybe scratching his head or something. I'll have to turn that hand around over there, but could be scratching his head, which makes it more of a foreground arm. An ultimate best pose, I think, that would be make it so. Yeah, that's the whole part that I'm a little bit unsure of. Like, I do want a perfect defensive pose, Like, ooh, it could strike. But the main theme that I want to go for with this one is cheeky little sly bastard. And if we're gonna go for something cheeky, I think a pose like so is a little better. At least it would work a little better in my mind. I have no clue why. Don't ask me, but it just feels that way. Having the arms a wee bit more down rather than the defensive stance. Oh, it could shoot into the defensive stance quite easily, and attacking, of course. It is certainly going to bug the players. And I'm really debating about how does this little critter, how this Twigblight, because every Twigblight I'm going to stream from now on is going to have a special little gimmick that will give them this extra little bit of damage. Like you have the whole horde of Twigblights, and among the similar looking types you have either a ringleader or something that tries to gesture them to do a little bit more than just stand there and get, destroyed, obliterated. So you have the whole horde of standard looking Twigblights, maybe Twigblights that are looking like the older Twigblight, but then younger versions thereof. Clearly there has to be some sort of difference. Oh, they could be cute. Hold up. Just a small idea. How would it look like in its infancy? So maybe it's hurtling around all of its young, and it's feeding its young with sprouts, its seedlings, saplings. Saplings. I'm gonna note it. Note this down for later on. Saplings. Maybe the saplings look like totally adorable little things. That don't have flowers yet, but they have the buds or something depending on their stage. And then there's these bigger few who are feeding their saplings. And how do they feed the saplings? Killing NPCs and player characters. If they can, but they can't. Because for player characters they are not strong enough. We're gonna make them a little smaller, and no, we're not going again for a CPK by Twigblight. I mean, that's rude. But I want to give them a little bit more motivation to do what they do exist. Gotta go feed their young. Like the baby bestiary. Oh, I love that one. And of course these young little Twigblights will fight too. Well, think about So you have a bunch of these younglings, the saplings, accompanied by a few adults who do more damage in my book, making the battle more interesting as you have these different kind of Twigblights too for the players to also study loot from, like different kind of loot. Maybe there's some innovative weapons like acorns that are thrown or sharpened and then thrown. Stuff like that. It could be interesting. So gonna go draw one of that. Little ones like the nymphs, saplings. And I don't think the saplings will do obviously less damage for obvious reasons. They don't have the pointy things yet. So the natural weapons still take time to grow, I guess. That all makes sense in that order. So yeah, in this episode, how to make your Twigblight more interesting. Blip, 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 blip. Yeah, in a theme and spirit of small animals that have everything a little bit too large for them, so. Their toes would be a wee bit bigger. More bigger looking on their bodies because, yeah, stereotype things. Okay. Yeah, and just maybe they just still have to grow into their whole, their arms and their eyes, fairly big. Of course, making them look a little cuter than the adult version. Maybe already have some stubs. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna work with 3s. I like that better. Haha, 3s. This one bugs me. This one's going down. We have more of an element that there we go. Better. So much better. There. Saplings. Well, that makes more sense. So they'd be there to feed their saplings, and that's why they do the whole murder, because from the murder they get their nutrients if they let it rot and with it. So it's not only NPCs and other player characters that they charge at, but they'd also charge at other wildlife. It's just predatory awakened shrubs. Does that still make them evil, evil-minded? No, it makes them more animal-like, animal kingdom. The one thing that could be evil is their way of trapping. Because it's fun that D&D mentioned that Twigblights are evil, but all of their doings don't really sound all that evil to me. If you read the books and read about Twigblights, like, yeah, sure, they attack the player characters. And what is their motive? Why do they attack? There's also the younger Twigblights, so there is a group of age. There is aging in their system, is what I've discovered, or at least what I know of. Oops. Let me erase that pot right over there. Whee! Maybe there's a little flower bud Still has to grow. It just makes more sense in my mindscape to have Twigblights actually take care of their younging, or something like it, or their group, their little tribe, and in that aspect act a little bit more tribal, and let them be a wee bit more smarter. Nothing too smart, of course. We're not going to go to the level of kobolds and their genius way of trapping. Hence the reason I'm saying lure and bait. They might use one of their own saplings to lure players. Or an NPC that they trapped, something like it. I do want to make it more convenient for players to have some sort of reason to go charge at them, or, you know, have the Battle of Twigblights going on. So yeah, this one is Oleander based. Of course, more Twigblights are going to follow, like more different shapes, more different tribes. And the Oleander tribe, I'd say they'd have natural weapons. Natural weapons. Let me see if I can take to my handwriting. Not so great. Where do we put this? Saplings, and know that they have natural weapons. 1d4, it's still standard. Well, let's make that a little bit more difficult. So we up this one with 1d6 and we give the babies 1d4. That's a 4. But yeah, that's a good move. Another layer. Make something very interesting. So you have a sapling version and the more adult version. And so they have the natural weapons, so they not necessarily would have shields. Could be a thing, really depends on your DM. Could be. That would be a bark-like shield that they grab from random pieces, or maybe a rock shield, like rocks. They could be throwing rocks as well. Saplings especially would probably throw rocks because they haven't gotten their natural weapons yet. As for the Oleander tribe, I'd trade these Twigblights on being a little bit more cautious, but still fairly stupid enough to go and attack player characters. I mean, they're not smart enough to know that, oh hey, this opponent is too strong. It's not the same opponent as this villager that I pillaged last week. No, they'd still go after player characters. They're not that smart. They can't They underestimate a lot of humanoid creatures. But they are innovative, so they would try to have a different approach than your standard Twigblights. They have the saplings that they try to feed, so they have a motivation to do what they do. And as for players who'd go for a different approach, trying to tame the whole bunch, that's gonna take you in-game an entire week, if not longer, to make clear that you mean no harm and that you are actually bringing food, in the sense of rotting corpses and rotting animals. So you'd have to bring rotting meat, and it doesn't matter what kind of rotten meat, because that's the thing that these things feed on. That is a very lovely ID. I'm going to keep this ID right in my lovely PSD file. Having the saplings, little cuter, bigger-eyed versions of the adults. I'm doing it again, trying to draw on a layer that I'm not working on. Made a copy, so we're gonna work with that. I'll save these two together, so we have the comparison with the saplings, the difference in damage that I do, and then we're back to it. Our adult version. And if there is a weapon, it could be releasing spores, but that's also not a natural weapon. That could make the powder, make the adults a wee bit more dangerous, but really depends on your DM and how deadly you want to make this Twigblight encounter. They're supposed to be fun and nothing too difficult to be dealing with. So I'd keep it down at a max damage of 1d6, and don't put too many 1d6 damage outputs out there, because Twigblights often come in great numbers. I want this to be more like a snout. We have some variations in color. I really love the leaves that the Oleander has, and maybe in the far-fetched future, if I ever manage to buy a house, like a solid place where one lives, you know, I'd get an Oleander tree or bush. Yeah, I'll fetch myself some Oleander. Just because of the appearance. And of course fern. A whole lot of fern. Have this. Just color picking away. It's such an interesting flower. Love it. Like a little trumpet. At first I was thinking about having these little lovely flowers incorporated into the design, but then I thought, like, it's literally in a wicked shrub. Like, sure you can do that, but it's also maybe funky to have it just grow on top of it, like a walking bush, a walking stick. Pushing away at the shape of the flowers that I placed earlier, placed locations where I wanted to have them. Wood. Fantastic. Yeah, some of these flowers really tend to be a little tacky, and I don't want to pay too much attention to them, just enough that it's recognizable as such. Gonna grab some more colors. And just grabbing a wee bit more color over here. Yeah, just remember, not everything has to be perfect. Once you can get what it is or what is representing, then it's good enough. And at this point, I'm just trying to get down some lovely Twigblight ideas that I have. We really want to go into the more monstrosity side of things, regardless of this little cute face. We could get rid of the eyes. Could. And just let's see how that looks like. And that it might have some sensing through its flowers, maybe. Maybe the flowers are the eyes. And then we could play into the theory that plants don't need eyes to know where you are at. And this awakened shrub doesn't have any eyes either. Just a wickedly big mouth to bump with. And so it looks less adorable and less cute to actually have around as a pet compared to what we had earlier. This little fella. Again, if you have any questions, or feel free to ask them away in the chat. And You can also suggest around Twigblights and talk about the plants that you love and like. Playing into the more scary Oleander version. I can almost ignore the soft fern over there because I've gone for the Oleander, obviously. Yeah, and in this case, you might ask what will happen to the saplings that I just conjured up. Well, if we're going for the prototype without the big bulging eyes, that would mean that the saplings also look a little creepier and more appealing for player characters to attack. Like everything that looks monstrous is attackable, right? Like goblins. Charge! Yeah, this is certainly giving it more of a slick design and more of a battle ready, or at least more spoopy, the heebie-jeebies. Let's get rid of our references and hold it up next to one of our previous designs and see how that goes. There we go. Ugly eyes. I myself, as the artist, I prefer the one without the big ugly eyes because it's more daring or more. I would say it's better for the players to actually have something that is not so adorable in measurements to combat against, because it provokes them to actually go fight it. Because oh hey, it looks like a monster, like let's go fight, rather than oh look at that little cute baby. It could be good for a trap, but unless you want your party to adopt a whole horde, an army, like Ode Pa, don't always give ugly eyes to stuff that needs to be beaten. Besides, other than having the players provoked to actually combat and do something. Bob, do something. And yeah. I mean, both have something that is alluring. Just gonna snatch the ugly eyes over here. A bit higher up. Oh yeah, it's a funky face. Lower down. That makes an interesting little bugger face too. And quite adorable. Let me play around with the perspective a little bit of these ugly eyes. It almost looks like a chicken. Oh yeah, this is cute. Oh, I always thought I could have so much fun with playing with ugly eyes. Yeah, I can. But let's entertain this thought for a moment. The eyes are a wee bit bigger than our original version. That's one. We're gonna copy it. Of course, I love my copy-paste movement. There we go. Still have that extra copy. Paste. So we have the eyes at an extreme low, and now we're gonna go for the extreme high. Yeah, the one to the left looks more like a Pokemon. Oh, perhaps that is Dark Souls, Star Wars, Pokemon. Wow, all the references are at once. Yeah, for some reason I do prefer the snout to be a little longer, and as much as I love Pokemon, this one is going to be written off the books, so I'm keeping it, but I'm not working on it. I mark this as a nope. Nope. Let's move this little critter right over here to our canvas, out of the way of possible references. Kind of looks silly too. I mean, that's funny but silly. Eyes do a lot with a character, as you've noticed by now. Smaller. Yeah, that also looks like something that stepped out of a horror movie. And it's where I wanted on a layer below. Yeah, we get those weird chicken vibes as well with this kind of eye formation. I think I'm having too much fun with this. Too much. Almost. A little higher. Do you have to adjust the perspective of this little eye? There. Almost looks like those eyes are a part of flowers that it has, which could be good. I do want for the blight to be have this predatory appeal to it, and just gonna paste this onto a different layer. like this weird ugly eye that you can stick everywhere. And now it reminds me of a Nautic with extra set of eyes and plant shape. Nautic is a wizard that has gone mad, lost his mind, and turned into a monster. And that's what a Nautic is, for those who are unaware of a Nautic reference. You can always look them up. Part of the D&D universe. They have one eye. No, I could play around with that feature as well. Oh, so many variations and options and possibilities. Oh, I wouldn't make the eye too big. I'd leave it right there. It kind of has some mimic gestures and features too. I mean, a mimic is a treasure chest that pretends to be a treasure chest, but is actually something else, a bit of a monster. Also fun. A whole lot more damaging, like in terms of your players. It's not. It is one of the monsters often used in D&D. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. 2 eyes, 3 eyes, 1 eyes. We've got multiple options to go by, or no eyes. That's like 4 options. I'm going to take a sip of water and think about this question as well. For those active, you can always answer in the chat what you think or like best, and we're gonna stick with that. Otherwise, I'll make the decision. All right. I've been debating about it, but it's kind of in my name too. I mean, San, Ichni San, number 3. I'm gonna go stick for 3 eyes. I'm gonna lower this one a wee bit. Or... yeah, lowering it and merge. We still have the version without eyes, and we have the version with 3 eyes. Just gonna sample them next to one another, and there's also the version with very big eyes. I was a nope. just to move this one here, so we have a kind of like an evolution state. So this is where we're at. What we had. We went to this. No eyes. Very large eyes. A definite nope. Cute though, but no. And the clunky one with 3 eyes. In comparison, yes. It makes more sense in the D&D universe as well. It's funny and scary enough. Definitely with eyes. Yes, agreement. The without eyes makes it look too much like a horror scene, which personally I would love, but you'd run a different campaign for that one. And the 3 eyes also fits more in the universe of D&D. Now comes the question again. Saplings! How would that look on a sapling? I mean, cute little buggers. I'm gonna go copy paste this one. We're gonna get rid of this adult version right over here because we just replaced it with something else. It's a bit of a growing document or growing PSD file. I'm gonna move our sapling a little bit more to the floor. It's half the size, so it's considered tiny. And yes, those bulging big eyes are a definite keeper for the sapling version. Has three really big eyes staring at you. I do want it to be provocative enough for players to go attack, but saplings, they can be a wee bit adorable. A wee bit. So I have to work on their design. The snout would be, of course, because of the large eyes. And they too would have an overbought creature trademark, an overbought. And these little cutie eyes are located higher than middle eye. Just have to make sure I do that correctly. Whoop. I still don't want to give the players the idea like, oh no, they're killing cute stuff when they go and nail these buggers down, because they are brats, they are annoying, they are to be dealt with, because they go after villagers, they go after wildlife, they are a pest, they are a plague. They're like an invasive species, and that's how you should treat them. They're cute and adorable, but the how they multiply, how they feed, how they hunt and prey, it's a wee bit much for the natural wildlife in the D&D universe, so that's how I imagine them to be in Acts. So There's no need to guilt trip our players into, oh no, I'm killing something utterly adorable, because they're not adorable. They're boogers. They're monsters with reason. So it gives the DM something fun to work with. Making a bit of a mess. Hello and welcome for the one who joined us on this lovely afternoon. Busy working on a sapling of a... What that? Looks more like a clown right now. Because I'm trying to make the features that the adult version has into how a younger version thereof would look like. From the big eyes and using some stereotypes. But now it looks more like a Pokemon than an actual monster, but I'll get to that point. Eventually. Or not. Maybe I'll leave it looking like some weird ass Pokemon. Doom, doom. Yeah, maybe those should be stubs too, because, you know, a vacant shrub. And I probably only want one thing, which is food, and our player characters are on the menu if these creatures have not been taught not to attack any kind of humanoids. So yes, they are tameable in short, but it takes a while. It takes a good while of your time, and you'd have to waste a week in game, perhaps even more, to tame one of these critters, let alone an entire group. And make sure it doesn't bite any allies. Because that's going to be difficult. It's like potty training. I don't know. I mean, I know it's possible to potty train a rabbit. It's, As for the saplings, I do want them to look like more adorable versions of the adult version, but still I want them to be provoking enough for players to just attack and deal with them. I could make these little bulging eyes smaller. So supposed to be more of the same size. Adult version has it on a similar size base as well. I go beast. Nothing too much, but a wee bit more distance. Oh, those eyes are big. But then again, if you've seen a baby bear, like a cub, bloody adorable too. The adult version still adorable, but the murder floofs. That could be it, maybe. Saplings have very small leaves as well, like they're still like in the infantry, they're still infants, so flower buds may be too soon as well. And they have just a couple of leaves that are sprouting and coming up. Also still growing and should make it more clear. And it's more player provocative. Because now it looks less adorable, because if it has a big bush it looks more adorable, it looks too cute. Could also be a lovely trick to Q2 attack. You're never sure how your players are going to respond to any of the critters that you reveal to them. Some collect, others attack, even though you want them not to attack. Like, okay, sure. So never get attached to your NPCs. Always be sure of it that there's a high chance that they will attack, charge, murder, kill, and even the innocent NPCs will have to bow down. These players tend to be ruthless. It's like even in video games, people tend to be more gentle toward NPCs and stuff like that, and being careful not to upset them. Like, oh no, this NPC in game, I don't want to upset them. Make them cry or something. Like, no. But when it comes down to D&D, players are ruthless. Often. Like, there's zero empathy to it. NPCs. Especially with new players. More experienced players, yeah, sometimes they too lose empathy. Like, oh no, it's just enemies. Fuck them down. Like, they get stuck in a certain routine, so you got to make sure that there's no routine in your DMing style that you always throw, and different kind of things to deal with, and puzzle pieces that they can solve, stuff like that. Make it interesting. There you go, and we have the adult and a sapling. Yes, that's better. Yes. The invasive Twigblight. Hailing from the Guiltiest tree. So we have many plants we can actually work on. According to D&D lore, that is. I mean, you do have the standard stereotype Twigblights when you search on them on Google, of course. It always got me wondering, like, could make some more interesting versions. And for now, I wanted the Oleander Twigblight, Oleander-based Twigblight, to be a little bit more deviant. Adorable, yes, in a way. At least they're saplings, perhaps. But the adult versions, not so much. And if you want to tame them, as for the players who really are out for taming, tackle a sapling, and if possible, a sapling that hasn't opened its eyes yet, or something like it is still stuck in the ground. go for the easiest target, and don't go for the adults, because it'll take years or maybe months, a whole lot of time wasting and time consuming, depending on your DM, of course. Hey, welcome for the follow, and thank you, Cornax. Thank you very much. Amazing. So yeah, you can always drop in suggestions for Twigblights that you would love to see, at least the plans that I'm basing them on. As mentioned very early on in the stream, the Guiltiest tree is where these Twigblights hail from, and the Guiltiest tree is a possessed plant or tree by an evil mind. Something in that corner. And it spreads, and its fruits can bear the Twigblights, but also it infects the other plants surrounding it. And if it's a tree, there could be many plants surrounding a tree. Perhaps Oleander in this case. So it really depends on the location. Feel free to join the Discord and drop in your suggestions right over there. Like, ooh, I would love to see Twigblight based on a rose bush, like an enlightened shrubbery. That's the pure basic thing that Twigblights represent, and they are awakened shrubs in a somewhat humanoid shape. And if we ask the creators of D&D, what do you define for humanoid shape? Well. I mean, look at the Aarakocra, Tabaxi, and the Three Kreen, if I pronounce that correct. The bug insectoids that have been recently released for the player characters. Yeah, there is a lot. As long as it's bipedal and has arms and fingers. And maybe posable thumbs, maybe, or not. I didn't give them posable thumbs. But they have 3 sticky fingers that they can grab stuff with and throw. And I imagine the younglings to throw rocks. for damage. Pebbles, rocks, they're tiny. Tiny, and this is small. Rock throwing. And the adult version would be slashing. So we scribble away, and my handwriting may not be all that readable, but hi, here I am talking, making sense out of it. And if you'd like some copies of this, maybe they are purchasable later on. If you want them right now, you can donate and pay what you want, and I'll give you the PSD file and the PNG files. Only available during the streams, and I have yet to decide for this whole show of Twigblights, because I might be interested in making an entire book series out of Twigblights with stats, behavior, perhaps a little culture or weapons that they use, if they use weapons, or bait. And as for the Oleander, they are a baiting type, so they bait player characters or villagers or whatever they can see and spot that lives and breathes meat, and they'll use some sort of bait to get the attention of said prey. And they come by the many. It's like these small little raptors coming at you. Put this down on sound, question mark. Maybe they use a voice calling out for help, the only word that they know to lure other sentient beings, like help, help, help. Some stupid stuff like that. That could be a nice thing. Or they, if they have a particular target, like let's say they have a tribe that lives near a village, and they don't go into the village to raid the village, but the village has a whole lot of sheep. And the sheep also come into the territory and domain of these Oleander Twigblights. So their main diet would be sheep. They'd probably lure in the sheep by making sheep noise. So when a shepherd goes about and he hears sheep around him, but his sheep are back at the barn. Yeah, makes them wonder. That could be the Twigblights, that could be the Oleander thing, like a sound bait. And if you were to place them in modern time settings, they'd mimic the sound of a phone, a ringing phone, to get the attention of someone. In the middle of nowhere, you'd hear a phone ringing. That's creepy. Alright. But yeah, enough twiddle-twaddle about that. You can always drop a comment in our Discord and mention that this is a plant I would really love to see a Twigblight made from. Not all of them are going to have the same features and design. Absolutely not. I'd love the different features. A lot, like some maybe stubby, big, blunt. They have different tactics. Maybe they roll over their target like a stack of hay. Maybe they have a lot of legs, a lot of tiny legs, or yeah, it's up to the imagination, and depending on the plant, I might be inclined to sign away. Whoop! Gonna make a lovely copy over here. We're gonna merge that, so we have our layer with our notes for later on. Here we go. I'm gonna grab my Oleander and Fern references. Personally, one of my favorite plants. I love Fern the most, but I didn't do anything with it, because I thought Oleander could be a very interesting design. I'm not gonna go and polish everything, but I'm gonna gloss over some pictures. So don't have the time to polish the entire feature or the entire thing. Oh, and there's also another interesting question. We want the bug eyes or a mark. We want to have them eyes like sheep. Oh, I can already hear them make the sheep noise. I'm running after sheep. They're tiny, so imagine that a sheep is bigger than them. And to survive, they probably need, depending on how big their tribe is, maybe one sheep every 3 days, every 2 days. Still sounds like a genuine offer, but again, they are invasive because their numbers grow. They probably need more than one sheep every 2-3 days. They'd go for a sheep a day, and then that goes from a sheep a day toward. So there's a lesson to be learned. Do not feed the Twigblights. They multiply far too fast and are high on demand. And speaking of multiplying, I believe you'd need 2 Twigblights to shape more sproutlings or saplings. And it doesn't matter because they're both, and that makes them so annoying and pesky, because it doesn't matter if so long as you have 2 Twigblights, you have issues. Because they're both male and female, like plants, most plants. So yeah, that makes them very annoying. Little frog eyes. Better. Jump, jump, jump. Now that we have that, how does that involve on our little ones? Saplings. Whip. Just to see how this looks, I work on a separate layer at the moment to avoid a big clash in my work. Little pluses. Nah, we're not doing that. Yep, decided. Boop. And all right. There we go. back to our references in the corner. We have something lovely to stare at. It is not white space or blank space. I never use a white canvas as a background because it hurts my eyes. Oh. So yeah, the notes that I made and probably a stats that I would write down as DM is that they would trap and bait or lure potential prey, and depending on their environment, their living situation, where they've settled down, they mimic the sounds of their surroundings to get to the source of their food, their chosen food. So this is kind of different. This is words. Would be different from any tribe. Just really depends on their location. So every tribe would have its own sound. That's what it comes down to. Every tribe has its own sound. Cute little fella. Horrible, horrible manners. Maybe once I've gathered enough art pieces that are looking good, I might do a Patreon thingy. I'm debating that one for a long time, but with Patreon it is that I want content that is worth worth paying for, like what would be worth it. And so yeah, I think it would be worth paying for creatures with art and stats. That might be nice. Might be a nice thing. A bit more light. That's one thing, if you manage to capture one of these things and you keep it as a pet as a player, be sure to not go into a dungeon for too long with it, because it does require sunlight. You take it into a dungeon and it's been removed from sunlight for too long, it's going to, you know, wither and end up dead. Really needs it. It also needs some soil from time to time, fresh soil. So there's some caretaking involves Twigblight herding. And for our strategy players who'd want to make an entire army of Twigblights have fun, that would take ages to train all of them and get them to obey and not bite any friendly allies, because that is quite the thing. Like, training them not to bite you is one thing, but you also have to teach them not to bite into the shoes or destroy stuff and not bite your friends. I imagine these boogers to be really bitey, like gnawing on everything that you don't want them to, like very naughty cats. And sure, the damage may not be much, but give them your trousers and they'd be they'd be trousers gone. So yeah. And again, I'd plant these lovely little buggers, Twigblights, around in the world as a DM, as a pest, as an invasive species that is to be dealt with. And nothing too cute to actually gawk at, like, oh. No, because then your entire flora and fauna, or at least your fauna, will have to endure. Once they run out of one food source, they will latch onto that next and learn a couple of sounds from the food source that they're after luring. I want some glittering over here. And we have some bounce light. There we go, that's nice. Just adding some small details. Yeah, we've come a far way, and just to make this picture complete, I am going to showcase some of the steps that we've made. The different silhouettes. starting out. I think our starting out better portrayed if we make that not too colorful, because we want our main subject to stand out. There. Oh. That mean for the entire merging of visible layers. Looking for the different variations that we have. The one without eyes, I believe. Yeah, there we go, that one. That's the one I was looking for. Bloop. We're gonna go mesh this one vertical, make it smaller. Merge and move on with the very big eyes. This one without eyes. Version that I kinda noped. This is a good version to showcase. We can see all the steps and that we've made to get to the point where we are now. And of course I'm going to grab that small little one, the tiny. Copy and paste. As in the size. So we have the size between them as well. Merge, and let's see, where are we? We're here. That's where we are. That working layer. There. This is a nice sample for the industry if you want to showcase your art to it. A game company always makes sure that there are some silhouettes, some choices, and design choices that you made along the way, like super big eyes, no eyes, and going toward the design that has 3 eyes. Sometimes it's nice to have some explanation why you did what you did, but all in all, keep that brief and short. Nothing too lengthy, because people don't like reading them more, and to, if you're the artist, be visual. Sometimes the drawing tells the tale by itself. So yeah, there's some interesting choices along the road. Now, as for me, we definitely we have a nice overview right now. Now, I like our helicopter overview of what we did and where we are and how things look, so I can compare things, and I can also have a better look at 3 eye sample versus 2 eyes versus no eyes. I'm going to take a sip of water. Well, think about what I did. like a little child playing with toys. Thank you, thank you. I'm definitely a fan of the 3 eyes, but the one without eyes also seems very appealing design-wise. And yeah, choices. You have to always make choices, and we went for the 3 eyes over the one with 2 eyes and no eyes. Yeah, this is going to be it for today. Let us sink in. Let us know in the Discord if you have any suggestions for the plans that we may tackle next time, because we're definitely going to continue on our Twigblight series. Let me see if there are some friends of mine online. No, at the moment, no friends online who are streaming. So let me read the chat for a little bit. So the eyes also add a lot to the younger one, but you also love the one with no eyes. Yeah, they do. I certainly do. It's a bit of a good point to debate about the atmosphere that you want to portray. Do you want something more grim and dark and sinister, which could be the one with no eyes, making the creepy noise of "help me" to lure people in, and have people on the menu, all the ones that either bah around when there's no sheep. As for player characters, the one with the 3 eyes that aren't too big is provoking enough to attack it. The young one still has enough provocative features to have player characters attack it without feeling too guilty about it, but also some cuteness to it. The one with 2 eyes is, from my point of view, I find it too adorable, but that's me, that's personal. The one with no eyes and 3 eyes has a definite preference from my point of view. Even though the one with 2 eyes is just cute. Would be a cute bugger I'd keep around, that's for sure. So yeah, that's what we got on this session of Twigblight. I'm going to end it right here, because I still have some chores to do. I'm going to wish you a good day.